Well, in addition to the the apartheid scenario, Turkey or Turkey, all they have to do is cut off the oil,
Yeah.
and Israel is screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Like Israel's dependent on so many countries. They're not self-sufficient in so many ways. They use a
Right.
nuke. There's no one's got like the US is pissed off right now because of the Iran war. Imagine Israel using a nuke. That changes a
Uh,
lot. So I just don't think it's
There'll be a few who'll still line up with Israel. Very, very small number, but a few.
talking about Turkey. The Israeli Diaspora Affairs Minister Amichai Chikli said something that more and more Israeli diplomats are saying, which contradicts exactly what we're just talking about now, which what I was talking about is that Israel started to change their policy. He says Turkey of Erdogan and Syria of al-Shara are now far more concerning than Iran. The new axis is the Muslim Brotherhood axis of Turkey, Syria, and Qatar. I don't know
Right.
what is this obsession of Israel seeing all these countries in Pakistan as well as Egypt as threats. But Syria's barely surviving. Al-Shara is doing anything he can to survive. Qatar is a small nation that's a mediator that doesn't pose a threat to freaking Israel. And Turkey, yes, Erdogan has been very vocal and critical of Israel. But they
Well,
have of Turkey. It doesn't. They do business together. I don't see that as a threat. Some do
yeah,
though.
yeah, but they are appearing in briefs. I guess let me contrast I watched a little bit of Fox News tonight just to see what they were saying and how they. I know. Oh my God, I thought my eyes were going to melt. Um, there is a real disconnect between the messaging here in the United States and like the messaging that you're putting out and others. They really believe that we have beaten Iran, that Iran has suffered a humiliating. I mean, I'm just not talking one person, multiple people, that Iran has suffered a humiliating defeat, and that Iran, by virtue of being so weakened, is going to have no choice but to submit to the United States, or else we'll come do it to them again. That very message, I mean, it was multiple people, not just some radical right wing or left wing guy. Fairly mainstream, both male and female.
Yeah, well, the numbers confirm it. I was talking about it a couple of days ago. In Israel, 92% of Israelis believe Iran won the war. In the US, 10 to 15% believe Iran won the war. So 85% to 90% believe that the US won the war.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I know. So I'm saying when your population is looking at it that way, that's why Trump is saying what Trump is saying. He understands those numbers too. He's not going to come out and say, "No, folks, listen, you're wrong. We got our ass kicked." Not going to say that.
Yeah. Well, when they see statements like this, Pakistani Prime Minister, in one of the statements he made, under your visionary leadership, talking about Pezeshkian, Iran will transform into one of the most growing economies in the world one day soon. And I think it also says that they'll be becoming a superpower. So that doesn't align with a country that's just been destroyed. Also, Channel 13 is reporting that Israel's preparing for a partial withdrawal from certain areas in southern Lebanon, despite public statements on the contrary. Doesn't look like a loss at all. So yeah.
Well, I mean, how else do you explain that the United States signed on to a document that granted Iran the right to protect the territorial integrity of Lebanon and to protect its sovereignty? What winning country allows losing country to do something like that?
Man, it's just a bubble they live in. Funny enough, talking about the media world, the day just came in literally now in the press, hot off the press. The Daily Wire, under financial stress, is seeking out over $100 million in strategic investors and working towards an IPO within the next 2 years. Semaphore reports that Ben Shapiro's company has failed to grow its subscriber base in the last 2 years and has lost much of its audience. Daily Wire's paid subscribers dropped by over a third of its prior peak, down to 771,000. Let me show you that media. If you could show that on screen, Lisa, that just shows their growth and their from 2020 to 2026. And I was actually talking to someone. That's actually a good story. Let me send it to you.
Did Shapiro ever try to? Have you ever interviewed him?
Never interviewed him. I think he would have probably put me in the do not talk to list after October 7th, because obviously became very critical of the Gaza war. Not right after October 7th, but when the Gaza war unfolded. So yeah, I don't know if we've interacted. I'll check my DMs now on X if we've interacted. Candace, yeah, we're trying to get an interview. I was talking about it yesterday to the team. This is Ben Shapiro, 2020 Daily Wire, 250. That's paid subscribers, 257,000. What the fuck? That's a lot. That's a lot. No way they have that many paid subscribers. Let me check. Hold on, that number can't be right. They have that many paid. No way. Holy shit, it is. Fucking hell. They did make a lot of money. Well done for them. Not that not anymore. I'm not a fan of their coverage now. But anyway, 2020, 257,000 goes up double, 558,000, 2021, 2022, 1.04 million, 2023. That's when the Gaza war starts, stays the same. 2024 picks up on day one of the Gaza war from 1 million to 1.2 million. And then the tide around the world starts to shift from 1.2 million down to 852,000, then down to 771,000. According to Semaphore. So, but what do you mean seeking out over $100 million in strategic investors? If they're seeking $100 million, what valuation is that? That's a wild number, because Piers Morgan raised
more than it's worth. It's just you're not buying anything that has a tangible value. You're just buying some
numbers. But the numbers raised that Piers raised $27 million. How's Piers Morgan raising $27 million? Congratulations for him, by the way. I knew about it a while ago. He's just closed it. $27 million raised. He closed. And by the way, he had a lot of interest and he deserves it. But and then Daily Wire is looking for $100 million and looking for an IPO. I don't know. Bizarre.
Well, yeah, it's
a big number. I don't know why they need that much. What valuation it would be, unless they're selling like the majority of the company. But anyway, so that kind of aligns with what you're talking about. Is that just the younger generation is starting to realize how skewed the media is in the West.